Power Rangers Future Foundation, Chapter 16, Royal Blue Influence. Luca walked out of the warehouse, counting the thick stack of cash he just earned from the day's car he sold to the gang. He had stolen it 45 minutes beforehand. He then climbed into his own car and drove back to the dojo. He parked up and counted his cash one more time, and then put it in the bag which he hid under the passenger seat. He climbed out and locked the car, and then walked into the dojo. There he found Dante striking a Wing Chun dummy. "Hey man, where you been?" Dante asked. "I, went grocery shopping," Luca replied awkwardly. "Dude, I ain't stupid," Dante sighed. Luca held his breath in panic. "You went to see if you get hold of the Silver Guardians again, right? To see if you could be sent home?" Dante said. Luca exhaled. "Yes, I did. How did you know that?" Luca asked. "CJ told me. She worries about you," Dante replied. "Oh, right, yeah," Luca sighed. Suddenly, Chloe came running down the stairs which led to the apartment above them. "Hey, Luca, you're back. Good. You two need to come upstairs right now," Chloe snapped. Luca and Dante looked at each other, then bolted after Chloe into the living room area where CJ sat in front of Adam's computer screens. "What's going on?" Dante asked. "We have a problem," CJ replied. She pressed her keyboard, and then the screen revealed live camera footage showing a group of putrids terrorizing the pier. "What are they?" Luca asked. "Putrids. They once served Master Orc," Dante explained. What?" Chloe asked. I don't know," Dante replied. "Okay, question. How are they here?" Chloe asked again. Dante shrugged his shoulders. "I don't know, but we got work to do. If you guys don't want to help me, it's fine, but I'm gonna go get these guys," Dante said to the other two. "Hey, I'm with you, man," Luca said. "Lead the way, dude," Chloe replied. "Good. CJ, watch our 6, Dante said. "Always. The location has already been downloaded into communicators," CJ told them. What about the other two?" Chloe asked Dante awkwardly. "Summer's over, so Amy's back in school, and Leo is needed on the Animarium as much as possible. So it's kind of a grey area. I mean, it is just some putrid dudes, so we got this," Dante replied. Then the 3 Rangers hit their communicators and teleported away. They teleported onto the pier where the putrids were attacking civilians. "Ready, guys?" Dante called out, revealing his Power Morpher. "Ready," Chloe and Luca both said in unison, revealing the Chronomorpher and the Dinomorpher. "Mastodon!" Dante called out as he held out his Power Morpher. Time Force!" Luca called out as he crossed his wrist, then pressed his Chronomorpher. "Dino Thunder, power up! Ha!" Chloe called out as she opened her mouthpiece, then pressed the button on the Dinomorpher. Then another flash of black, yellow, and blue engulfed the 3, and the black Mighty Morphin Ranger, the yellow Dinothan Ranger, and the blue Time Force Ranger stood there in their fighting stances. "Let's go, guys," the Black Ranger called out, and the Rangers charged into the group of putrids. The Blue Ranger kicked one in the chest and blocked one attack. He disarmed the putrid and jumped up, flinging his kicks at it. "Why now? It's been a month," the Blue Ranger asked as he landed. "Where did these guys even come from?" the Yellow Ranger asked as she summoned her Terra Grips and sliced down 2 putrids. The Black Ranger summoned his axe and slashed down a putrid. He then blocked an attack. He then kicked the putrid in the chest. As their weapons were still in contact, he then cut it down with 2 slash attacks. The 3 Rangers made easy work of the putrids. They stood there victorious when suddenly a random woman ran up to them. She was blonde with short hair. She wore a black vest and a black skirt with high black boots. "Adam?" the woman asked. The 3 Rangers demorphed, and the woman looked disappointed as her gaze fell upon Dante. "I'm afraid not," Dante replied. "Oh, I'm sorry to bother you," the woman said. Then she went to leave. "Wait, I'm actually looking for Adam myself," Dante called out. The woman stopped and then turned to face him once again. "You know Adam Park?" she asked as she didn't believe him. Yeah, he's my sensei. Well, was. He's been missing for the last couple months," Dante told her. "Oh, wow. Okay. That's actually really sad. I'm sorry to hear that," the woman replied. "I'm Dante. This is my team, Luca and Chloe," Dante said to her. "I'm Nephes," the woman replied. "Did Adam have a database? He kept a lot of information on Rangers, their arsenals and opponents and stuff," Nephes asked. "Yeah, it's in my possession," Dante replied. "Can I see it? There's a certain file I need to see," Nephes asked gently. Dante looked at Chloe and Luca. Luca shrugged his shoulders and Chloe mouthed the words, "I don't know." "I mean, I don't know," Dante said awkwardly.
"Hey, stop right there!"
a voice yelled. Then suddenly a Red Ranger landed between Nephes and the trio. The Ranger stood and and with a sword he dropped into his fighting stance. The Ranger looked similar to the Red Mighty Morphin Ranger, with all black helmet which had a vertical white line and a horizontal white line going across, making a cross on his faceplate. It resembled the Cornish flag. The Ranger also had a golden shield on his chest, similar to the Green Mighty Morphin Ranger's shield, which also had the Cornish flag placed upon it. "You again," Nephes growled.
I don't know what you're planning, but it stops here.
The Ranger barked. "Hey man, she's only one woman," Lucas said, stepping forward.
Please, you guys need to step back. She's dangerous.
The Ranger said to the trio. "She's dangerous?" Chloe asked, unconvinced. Then Nephes ran at the Red Ranger. She ran up his body, spun around and kicked him in the face, knocking him off his feet. She landed on the floor and rolled forward, securing her landing. She then held out her wrist and a device appeared on her arm. "Finster 5, influence dust, now," she said into the device. Then she ran up to the trio, who looked at her all stunned and rather confused. She aimed the device on her wrist and it sprayed a blue mist at them. They all coughed and suddenly their eyes flashed blue. They all stood there, becoming zombie-like. "This only lasts for a short period of time. Quickly, you three, get me out of here," she ordered. The trio then surrounded her and all pressed their communicators. The trio and Nephes teleported away. Back at the dojo, CJ was multitasking. She had one screen watching the Rangers through a live camera feed. The other screen she was scanning through the Morphin Grid database, Dante's files that he got off Adam, to see if there was anything about this Red Ranger. To CJ, something seemed familiar about him. Then she found it, the file which read the Red Cornish Ranger. She opened it and quickly swept through the file. His name was Mark. He came from Universe 20. He had a team which died. He was left alone. He was able to hop through dimensions, and he was hunting a lone bounty hunter ranger known as the Royal Blue Ranger, who went by the name of Nephes. "Uh-oh," CJ whispered to herself. She then looked at the live camera feed and saw the blue mist hitting the Rangers, and suddenly all of them teleporting away with Nephes, leaving the Red Cornish Ranger on the ground. She took a deep breath and she activated her communicators. "Amy, Leo, I know you guys are busy, but I really need your help. Head to the pier. You're going to find a man called Mark. You need to help him. A woman called Nephes is trying to get Adam's database, and she's has the other Rangers under some form of control," CJ said to her communicator. Then the sound came from downstairs of the dojo. The sound of teleportation. "Hey CJ, we're home and we brought a guest," Dante's voice called up. "Please hurry," CJ whispered into her communicator. The Red Cornish Ranger stood up and placed both his hands on his morpher, which made his belt buckle.
Power down,
he barked. In a flash of light, the Red Cornish Ranger demorphed, and Mark was left standing. He was a man in an average build, short black hair, and wore a white top and blue jeans. Mark walked up around the pier, looking around for any sign of Nephes.
Gone again. But she didn't open a dimensional rift, so she's still here,
Mark said to himself. Suddenly, two teens teleported in. One was wearing Animarian warrior robes, minus the helmet, and the other one was wearing denim jacket, shorts, and had Healy trainers on. They both walked up to Mark, who stood there on edge. "Are you Mark?" the young teen girl asked bluntly.
Depends on who's asking,
Mark snapped. "Whoa, easy man, we're only here to help," the Animarian warrior said. "My name's Amy, and this is Leo. We know the three guys who Nephes took. They're our team. We are Power Rangers just like you," the girl told him, revealing the astromorpher upon her wrist.
They're under her influence. Luckily, it only lasts about 15 minutes.
Mark said as he lowered his guard, realizing Amy was telling the truth. "I know where she is. Me and Leo have a plan, but we're going to need your help, Mark," Amy said.
I'm happy to help. Nephes is my problem. No one else should have to be dragged into this,
Mark replied. "Okay, let's do this," Amy said with a slight grin. Back at the dojo, Luke and Dante held onto CJ, pinning her to her knees, gripping onto her shoulders so she couldn't escape. Nephes was at the computer. "I found it! Finally!" Nephes cheered. As she found the Morphin Grid database, she opened the file and scrolled down to a document. She clicked on it and it was locked. The screen then revealed a notification saying retinal scan required. "Damn you, Adam! You locked it!" Nephes screamed out. She kicked CJ's computer chair over in an act of rage. "Oi, that's mine!" CJ barked. Nephes turned to CJ, walked over to her, and then suddenly Amy teleported in. She rolled forward. As she landed on one knee, she aimed her satellite stunner, pulling the trigger, hitting Luca, and he flew back, hitting the wall behind him, leaving him unconscious on the ground. Then she zapped Dante as well. He also hit the wall behind him and fell to the floor unconscious. She then turned around to see Chloe running at her. She ran at Chloe, kicked her in the stomach, then jumped up in the air, pulling the trigger, zapping Chloe. Chloe flew off her feet, hitting the floor, sliding across the room and flying into the kitchen, crashing into the kitchen counters. Nephes came flying at her. She blocked the attack, then grabbed onto Nephes. CJ, look after the others, Amy called out. Then she pulled Nephes close, slammed her free hand onto her communicator, teleporting both of them out of the dojo. Sure, CJ huffed to herself. Nephes and Amy teleported back onto the pier, both of them pushing themselves off of one another. Amy stumbled back and was caught by Mark and Leo.
You did it!
Mark cheered. Yeah, the others are fine, I think, Amy said doubtfully. Nephes found her feet and growled at the three. Damn you, Cornish pain in my ass. You can't hold a grudge forever, you know, Nephes roared.
You have destroyed countless rangers, whole teams, wiped out, leaving their dimensions powerless against diabolical threats. It's not a grudge. It's a willingness to stop you.
Mark barked back. Fine, let's do this dance once again, shall we? Nephes growled. With a clenched jaw, she slid a golden piece on her device up to the top, and in a flash of light she morphed into the Royal Blue Ranger. Damn it, forgot CJ said she's a ranger, Amy gulped.
Leave her to me,
Mark said. Dante would want us to fight together, Leo replied. Mark paused for a second, then looked at Leo with a slight grin.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Mark nodded. Mark revealed his Cornish morpher. It was identical to the Mighty Morphing Power Ranger morpher, but it was his own power coin inside, which resembled the Cornish flag.
Kerno Bisficken!
Mark yelled, and held out his Cornish power morpher. Then in a flash of red, he was morphed into the Red Cornish Ranger. Let's rock it, yo! Amy called out. Then she flipped open the Astro morpher and pressed the morphing sequence. 3, 3, 5, the morpher said as she pressed the button combination. Then in a flash of pink, she was morphed into the pink in Space Ranger. Leo flipped open his ground morpher and pressed the sender button, then held the phone-like morpher to his ear. World access, he called out. Then in a flash of light, he was morphed into the Wild Force Ranger. The three Rangers dropped into their fighting stances. The Royal Blue Ranger ran at them. She jumped up and kicked at the Red Cornish Ranger multiple times before landing. She then threw out her fist, but the Red Wild Force Ranger jumped in the way and blocked the attack with his forearms. He then roundhouse kicked the Royal Blue Ranger. She stumbled back. The Red Wild Force Ranger threw a punch, but the Royal Blue Ranger caught the punch. She then kicked him in the chest and pulled him close. She punched him several times before flipping him over onto his back. She then pressed the button on her morpher, and her hand started glowing a dark purple. She placed her glowing hand on the Red Wild Force Ranger's chest, and suddenly energy started being drained from the Ranger, siphoning into the Royal Blue Ranger's hand. I've had your kind before, but its nice boost is always appreciated, the Royal Blue Ranger sneered. The Red Wild Force Ranger screamed out in pain.
Oh no you don't,
the Red Cornish Ranger called out. He pressed his morpher, which acted like a belt buckle.
Power dagger,
he called out, and suddenly the power daggers appeared in his hand. He then threw one of the daggers. It hit the Royal Blue Ranger's shoulder. She fell back and her hand let go of the Red Wild Force Ranger. The Ranger demorphed due to the lack of power and the amount of pain. Leo started dragging himself across the floor. The Red Cornish Ranger ran at the Royal Blue Ranger, picking up the thrown dagger off the floor. He then swung both of them at her, slashing her several times and ending his combo with a roundhouse kick. Then the In-Space Ranger jumped high in the air and aimed her satellite stunner. She pulled the trigger. The energy rings rained down on the Royal Blue Ranger, sparks flying off her chest. The Pink Ranger landed and threw her fist, but the Royal Blue Ranger caught it. She swung her foot into the Pink Ranger's stomach, knocking the wind out of her. Then the Royal Blue Ranger's hand started glowing purple again, and she placed her hand on the Pink Ranger's head, draining her energy. She only held on for a few seconds before kicking the Pink Ranger hard in the chest, sending her flying back, crashing to the floor, demorphing as she hit the ground.
This stops now,
the Red Cornish Ranger called out. He then ran at the Royal Blue Ranger. He swung down with both daggers and sliced down at the Ranger's chest. She stumbled back. He then threw several jabs with the daggers, the tips hitting the Royal Blue Ranger's torso. He then swept his leg under her, knocking her off his feet. He then dropped to his knees. He swung the 2 daggers down, the tips aiming directly for the Royal Blue Ranger's chest. The Red Cornish Ranger finally got his chance to finally strike down the woman who he'd been chasing around the multiverse for the longest time, as long as he could remember. The task that ripped him of a life with the woman he loved, and finally it was all about to end. His power daggers came inches away from making contact, then suddenly the Royal Blue Ranger teleported away, the power daggers striking the ground.
Damn it!
The Red Cornish Ranger screamed. The Royal Blue Ranger was teleported into a very warm cave. She stood up and dusted herself off and explored the room. The room was split into 2. One side was filled with glass cabinets, all containing different weapons, morphers, and tools used by previous Rangers and their villainous opponents. On the other side was a bed-like set of chambers, containing sleeping people inside. She recognized some of them as Rangers. Suddenly the door opened and a Duke Orc and 2 mutants walked in. "Hello, nephes," the Duke Orc said. "And how do you know who I am?" the Royal Blue Ranger asked defensively. "You're quite the story in the Khotan Plain," the Duke Orc said with a chuckle. The Blue Ranger looked at the Duke Orc and the circle of coloured crystals on his chest. "You're Lucicon," she gasped. "Yes, I am, and it seems like you've just met my rat infestation, or as normal people call them, the Power Rangers," Lucicon barked. "I have, and you're missing a crystal." "So they beat you once before, I assume," she stated. "They have. Their leader, Dante, is a unique type of pest," Lucicon growled. The Royal Blue Ranger demorphed and walked over to one of the sleeping Rangers. "So you're trying to become all-powerful by absorbing the powers in the multiverse," Nephes said. "It is a task, yes," Lucicon replied. "Can you do without one of these Rangers?" Nephes asked as she ran her finger over the glass case. "Depends. What did you have in mind?" Lucicon asked. "You want his powers, and I want a file that only Adam can unlock." "And he wants him," Nephes said, pointing at the containment pod. Lucicon and the 2 mutants burst out laughing, and Nephes grinned devilishly as they all looked into the glass cabinet at the sleeping Ranger, and she grinned, looking down at Adam Park.
If you enjoyed this episode, why not check out the rest of Power Rangers Future Foundations on Tiger Tales, produced by Ty Tiger, one of the 3 Ranger Bros.